It was an ordinary Wednesday morning in Elk Grove Village, Illinois. The sun had barely risen when 12-year-old Mary Kellerman woke up feeling unwell. Just a slight cold. Nothing serious. Her parents gave her what millions of Americans took every day, without a second thought, an extra-strength Tylenol. It was a trusted medicine, a household name, the kind of thing you'd never imagine could hurt you. But within minutes, Mary collapsed. Her body convulsed, her breathing became ragged, and by 10 a.m., she was pronounced dead. At the hospital, doctors were baffled. There was no obvious cause, no illness, no underlying condition, just a healthy little girl, gone in an instant. No one knew it yet, but Mary Kellerman was the first victim of a killer who had found the perfect weapon, hiding in plain sight inside a bottle of medicine. The horror didn't stop with Mary. Just a few miles away, in the suburb of Arlington Heights, 27-year-old Adam Janus took Tylenol for a headache. Within minutes, he was on the floor, gasping for air. His family called 911, but by the time paramedics arrived, Adam was already slipping away. His heart was failing, his body shutting down in ways that made no sense to the doctors trying desperately to save him. By 3:15 p.m., Adam was dead. His family gathered at his home to mourn, still reeling from the shock. In their grief, Adam's brother Stanley and his wife Teresa took Tylenol from the same bottle Adam had used. Within hours, they too were dead. 3 members of the same family wiped out in a single day. But the killer wasn't done. Across Chicago, more victims fell. Mary Reiner, a 27-year-old mother who had just given birth, took Tylenol for her aches and never woke up. Mary McFarland, a 31-year-old postal worker, swallowed a capsule and was dead before sunset. Paula Prince, a 35-year-old United Airlines flight attendant, bought a bottle from a local drugstore and collapsed in her apartment. 7 people, all dead within hours of taking Tylenol. All seemingly healthy, all with no explanation. Doctors were baffled. Healthy people didn't just drop dead. There had to be a cause. Then, a breakthrough. Helen Jensen, a public health nurse in Arlington Heights, noticed something chilling. In the Janus home, a Tylenol bottle was missing 6 capsules. 3 people were dead. The math was too perfect to ignore. She alerted investigators, and soon, lab tests confirmed her worst fears. Cyanide. Not just traces, but massive, lethal doses. Enough to kill an elephant. The Tylenol had been tampered with. And it wasn't just one bottle. Different stores. Different batches. Someone had planted poison across Chicago, hiding death inside innocent medicine bottles. Once the connection was made, terror gripped the city. Johnson & Johnson, the makers of Tylenol, faced a nightmare. Was this an inside job? A disgruntled employee? Or something far more sinister? The FBI was called in, and soon, a nationwide warning was issued. Do not take Tylenol. Stores pulled bottles from shelves. Pharmacies locked up their stock. People threw out medicine they'd trusted for years, suddenly afraid that any pill could be laced with poison. The fear spread beyond Chicago. Copycat threats emerged in other states, with reports of tampered medicine in New York, California, even Texas. The country was on edge. Then came a letter, a demand for $1 million to stop the killing. The FBI traced it to James William Lewis, a man with a history of extortion. When arrested, Lewis insisted he wasn't the killer, just a con artist trying to cash in on the tragedy. But was he telling the truth? Investigators dug deep, but no concrete evidence tied him to the poisonings. The method was chillingly precise. The killer had opened Tylenol capsules, replaced the medicine with cyanide, then resealed them to look untouched. This wasn't a random act. It was calculated, deliberate. The killer had access to bottles before they hit store shelves. But how? Stores reported no break-ins. Employees were questioned. Alibis checked. Nothing. The poisonings spanned multiple locations, meaning the killer had to have planted the tainted bottles in different stores, possibly even different towns. It was a level of planning that suggested either inside knowledge or an unnerving ability to move undetected. The final toll was 7 lives, 7 ordinary people who trusted a pill to make them feel better, only to be met with agony. Johnson & Johnson launched one of the largest product recalls in history, pulling 31 million bottles off shelves. They pioneered tamper-proof packaging, seals, foil wrappers, safety caps, changes that became industry standards and are still used today. But the killer? They vanished. No confession, no smoking gun, no justice for the victims. Over the years, investigators chased countless leads. Some believed it was a disgruntled employee. Others suspected a lone psychopath, someone who got thrills from watching the chaos unfold. James Lewis remained a suspect, but without proof, the case went cold. Then, in 2009, new forensic tests were conducted on the original evidence. A fingerprint was found on one of the tainted bottles, but it matched no one in the databases. The case was reopened, but again, no arrests were made. Why target Tylenol? Why Chicago? Why those 7 victims? Were they random, or did the killer choose them deliberately? To this day, no one knows. The Chicago Tylenol murders remain one of America's most terrifying unsolved crimes. Every time you open a pill bottle and see that foil seal, you're touching the legacy of those 7 victims. Because in 1982, someone proved the unthinkable, that even trust could be deadly. And to this day, that someone is still out there, watching, waiting, or maybe long gone. The truth? It's still bottled up